Okay, welcome everybody, and his special thanks to the panelists. I know everybody is too busy, especially if you're in blockchain. I know how the life is. Uh, Things are changing every day, and the day-to-day schedule is pretty hectic. So out of that, we were lucky to get the esteemed panelists. All of them are doing great work in their respective areas, and we got a good mix who are working on different aspects of blockchain. That's what I like about this panel discussion. And I'm also happy to see normal people working on blockchain. Usually the impression is public is blockchain means Bitcoin and something mysterious and something that you can't understand. But luckily we have normal people, and even that we have ladies also participating in the technological development, which I see in general as a good sign. Because there is always usually a talk about ladies not in the technology, but nowadays I think that's no more an excuse. So let me start with the introduction of panelists. So we'll go one by one. Garima, you want to start with your quick introduction?
Okay, sure. Thanks, Atul, for providing me a chance to be participate in this webinar. So let me introduce myself. Basically, I belongs to Dehradun, as I told you earlier also, and I'm working in the blockchain space since last 12 years when the Bitcoin just evolved. From that time onwards, I started to enter in the market as a trader. Then eventually when Ethereum was came into picture around 2015, then I started working on those ERC20 standards. I was understand the technology. Then a lot of things evolves in front of me in the market. I started as a trader, then I was working on a technical part. Then a lot of ICO era came into pictures. A lot of ICOs are happening in the market. Then token creations, business models, everything is changing drastically in past few years in terms of blockchain technology. I was working with different companies as a co-founder, sometimes as a CTO, because this space was new to everybody. Still, it is new, but that time we talk about 6 years back. That time nobody knows about the technology, what exactly it is. That time only we know Bitcoin, Ethereum. Then a lot of different chains are coming into picture, different technical stacks, different layers of blockchains like layer zero, layer one, layer two. Everything was happening. Then NFT came into pictures with a new standard of ERCs, like ERCs, Ethereum protocol standards. Then there are like non-fungible tokens. Then there are different security standards are there. Then
Right.
EIP standards again evolved. So late, a lot of things changed drastically. Then DeFi came into picture, and I work as a DeFi researcher also for a lot of companies. DeFi have changed the entire scenario of banking for the people. So that I observed and participated in landing war and protocol. Different kind of things are happening nowadays, like metaverse and P2E gamings. These are booming. So I have worked on like from layer zero Bitcoin, then Ethereum, then layer two like Binance Smart Chain, then new kind of different kind of stuffs over the blockchain technology. As a technical person, I can write contracts myself, and now right now I'm leading a team of more than 250 plus people who are blockchain developers. I'm working as
Yes,
head
I
of
know you
blockchain.
have given good guidance to the startup teams, also preparing them
Yes,
for where they should go, how they should
yes,
start, and what they should
yes.
deliver. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
I like work on the business model also with the companies. A lot of companies they came up just an idea that we want to do something into blockchain space with this sort of idea, like in a banking space or maybe in a healthcare industry, in education domain. They give me the idea of their existing business model, then I transform that into blockchain technology and fit the right blockchain model into their existing business model. Then we create
correct. So
MVP.
that's the area where we interacted and did some
Yeah, that's
successful.
the idea. Like Atulji and me interacted through some project only, and we started working together on that product also. So there are a lot of product, more than I can say 250 plus product I have worked on blockchain technology from past 12 years. So those are like transformation of technology we can say, because ideas are always same. If we came
Right.
about business, it's an education portal, then it is an
Yeah.
education portal
So
only.
Garima, great to have you here. For the short lack of time, we had to move quickly with the everyone. So Kamlesh, you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so I think I mean, unlike with other people, I started my blockchain career with enterprise product and services. So I part of the IBM blockchain team in 2015 to 16, and then I worked with a couple of startups, mentoring them, and currently I'm the CTO of one blockchain startup, Customer Future Tech. And along with this role, I currently play many community roles. I'm the part of the Hyperledger Foundation in the technical steering committee who drive the technical direction of the Hyperledger technologies like Fabric, Ethereum, Fabric, and Besu, and all other Hyperledger projects. I also part of the IEEE blockchain community to lead the sustainability efforts using blockchain. And I think all of you are about the Ministry of IT and Telecommunication Initiative, APIRI Blockchain COE. So I also the mentor of the APIRI Blockchain COE and mentoring the blockchain startup. I think every year they incubate around 25 plus startups in the Ministry of IT, and I'm the mentoring of those startups. And recently I talked about the beyond blockchain in the one of the TEDx session. So I believe more blockchain use cases in the enterprise version instead of believing more in crypto. So, and that's why I'm not having any kind of crypto holder. So even I seen all the journey from ICO, STO, and even the DeFi currently, and even the NFT boom in the last 1 year before, and now it's we lost the boom also NFT. So I see all this kind of journey, but I never believed in the crypto and other thing. But I believe the technology itself, and that's why I'm firm believer of the technology and building towards the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the rational side of blockchain that people sometimes forget or don't pay enough attention to. And I think Snapper, I know right from the beginning, they have been focusing on products like education certificates and all that. I think Snapper was one of the first companies who came up with certification related product. Okay. So with that, again, thank you for joining the panel. Sujata, you want to go next?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sujata Shesh. I come from the background of technology as a programmer, coder, trainer, training manager, and then I run my own company which is into fund administration. We are India's leading fund administrators. We are India's only specialized fund administrators. So we work in the space of AIFs, which is alternative investment funds, like your private equity funds and all those. So my perspective on blockchain started with a doctorate that I had enrolled for. And of course, as a person from the technology background, anything new that comes up, I'm a self-confessed Google rat. I heard, I think Shreyas mentioned in the start that you guys use Google a lot to do your coding. I have done my whole doctorate based on Google. Google Scholar is a product. I mean, when I teach innovation, I teach about how Google is the leader of innovation and how many products are under Alphabet right now. So yeah, using Google and all the facilities, I had learned quite a bit about blockchain, and I was not happy with it. So I did a course in coding on blockchains also. And I have studied blockchains from the perspective of it being adopted as an innovation adoption model about what are the perspectives and what are the various factors that are going to influence its adoption. My thesis was based on that, and I got away with a very good thesis on it, probably because I have actually done what I was speaking about. I have been a facilitator for innovation adoption, quite a lot of it that we do in our own organization. And I am also adjunct faculty at SP Jain is something I studied. In the company which I co-founded, so which is about 16, 17 years old now. So that is my background, and yes, blockchain excites me like all other technologies have. To tell you the truth, I have taught Java, and I have taught micro. We used to call it micro Java. We were expecting a version of Java that could help us control. Very very surprisingly, since this is a blockchain forum, I would like to say this here. I used to talk about a Java that would empower a device to control many other devices. And we're sitting in a world where that happened about 10 years back. So technology and the way it progresses and the progressive steps it takes, and like, it was stated correctly by Atul in the beginning. It's a very exciting world out there. It's changing daily. What I studied about blockchains today is again advanced to the next level. And so, yes, I'm here from that perspective and background of being very closely associated with the financial aspect of blockchains.
Excellent. And I think you are the one, or probably one of all these lot. You are the only one who are closest to the youngsters because of your SP Jain association. So how do youngsters think about
Actually,
all this?
no,
Would like
no,
to.
no, not really, Atul. I teach the executive MBA batches, the global
Mm.
executive MBA batches, where I'm happy to say that I've had at least about half a dozen students who are older than me and also more experienced than me.
Uh,
Most of them are
Okay.
from IT backgrounds. All of these people, they're from your
Uh,
Infosys and Capgeminis of the world. And of course, there are
Interesting.
equal number of youngsters also in those batches. But
Mm.
yes, I do come from a background where I see all of we work a lot with startups. We have our own fund where we are into funding startups. We participate in a lot of conferences, in a lot of meets of private equity individuals where startups
Mhm.
are the main things that are spoken about, and they are the main participants there too, seeking funds, seeking advice and guidance. So yes, I'm very active in
Oh,
that space also. Thank you.
great. So
Thanks.
now over to Shilpa. You please introduce us quickly.
Sure. Thank you, Adulada. Hi, I'm Shilpa Deshpande. I'm based here in Washington, D.C. I have gotten my bachelor's in India and then I came here as a master's student. And then since then, I have been here. I have worked as an engineer, engineering manager, tech lead uh, all throughout my career. And in 2020, I made a switch to become a data scientist. This was my way of getting closer to the problem statement. So getting really understanding the data that I had transformed so much and data I have carried from one place to another place, what that data actually meant. And that has gotten me closer to the blockchain. So I currently work at Chainalysis. Chainalysis is the leader in the blockchain analytics space. If you fortunately or unfortunately hear about cryptocurrency related crimes or whatever, you have heard about Chainalysis being the company which helps the investigation. So we as a company, we provide the investigative solutions. We also provide the compliance solutions. Uh, over I have been at Chainalysis for 4.5 years, so all most of that time has been looking through actual Bitcoin transaction, Ethereum transactions, understanding what is going on, try to uh, not exactly de-anonymize, but at least understand what is the macro level activity that is happening on the blockchain. And if there is anything that we could understand and provide it to our clients to help uh, guide the investigations. That has
Great.
been my journey throughout, and I am very very excited to be here and to be on the same panel with all these distinguished people. It's my great fortune. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Shilpa. So we have at least one reader of your regularly published reports, and I'll ask you to identify who that person is. Otherwise, I'll tell you at the end who is that loyal reader of your published reports. So there are people looking at your reports that you publish, definitely. Okay, so with that, we need to move to the next slide where I'll just quickly introduce about Hexaview in general. So I don't want to spend too much time on that, but just as a gratitude for giving this opportunity, Hexaview, whom I've been helping build a team for about a year plus now. So Hexaview started in 2010 by two young entrepreneurs, Abhishek and Ankit, and they have been successfully running this company for 10 plus years, which itself speaks of the success. And they are balancing the rope walk of services versus products, and they are taking risk and they are ready to invest in new technologies like blockchain and emerging technologies, which is something that I really admire because I've seen many big corporates, the especially the IT giants, they are not able to do this kind of activity. So they are 12 plus years in business, 400 plus resources, which is a good size, 65 plus net promoter score, and then 7 global offices. I think they are just in the process to set up one in Pune for one of their finance customers. And they also have partnerships with Salesforce, Microsoft, AWS, and NVIDIA, which is kind of a good mix of big players to partner with. So with that, we can go to the next slide quickly. So these are the quick suite of services. If you look at the partners, partner companies, this should not be a surprise. So they are in data science, they are in cloud, Salesforce, and enterprise product development. And of course, blockchain is their own initiative. There is no partnership as such. So we have looked at a couple of exciting customers, and we have built some NFTs and stuff like that. So we'll take a look as we go ahead when we have a demo. Next, please. Yeah, so for those attending this who don't know much about blockchain or anything, so we just wanted to give one quick view of NFT. What NFT basically stands for non-fungible token, whereas Bitcoin and all those are fungible tokens which are interchangeable. They don't have identify anything. So typically with NFT, there will be an asset behind it. It could be an art, painting, music piece, or it could be a financial bond, etc. So that's just we don't want to spend too much time here. So go next. Most of us are probably knowledgeable about what NFT is. So with that, we'll kickstart our main agenda, which is the panel discussion. So before we go into that, I would like to give a chance again to the speakers based on how they perceive this, let's say a wave, whether it's a wave or a tsunami or whatever. How are they perceiving this metaverse? Every day I keep hearing the word metaverse, and I'll give you a quick story to start with. So I was I was presented a book by one of my friends who had conducted interviews with classical singers the whole COVID year, and then he published a book on that experience. And at the end of each chapter in that book, he printed a QR code. And then I was asking, what is this QR code? I mean, are we supposed to pay as we scroll the pages or something? Then he said, no, that will take you to the actual interview that I conducted on YouTube. You will get the recording of that interview. So you can read his analysis and then click that QR code and go to the YouTube videos. I thought this is probably some small beginning of how the future metaverse or universe is going to look like. So from your textbook, you are going into the kind of actual talk or actual interview that he conducted, maybe in the past, but today there are events happening where you can actually go into a live game and experience it as if you are there, or walk through the London street and actually feel probably what's going on there or in the coffee shop, etc. So this gave rise to these questions, and I thought, why not just have some good brainstorm discussion. So this is the result of that. So let's have some fun, and then I'll basically go with the same sequence with each of us to talk a little bit about what they understand about metaverse. And so these things, don't take them as questions. These are scenarios more or less. So you can elaborate them. You can say pass on something which you don't want to comment on. Feel free to do whatever. So the first one I started with was, I always wished I can send smell over WhatsApp, and I always keep saying that when somebody sends a flower, photo of flower or something. So is this what metaverse is supposed to do? What does the word metaverse mean to you? So let's go with the same sequence. We can switch the sequence. First question we'll go with Garima, then Kamlesh, then Sujata, and then Shilpa. Please go ahead. Yeah, Garima, you want to talk about what's your perception or interpretation of metaverse?
Yeah, metaverse, like right now, if you say a lot of things are changing into technology stuff, then metaverse is certainly related to virtual reality. Whatever you can feel through virtual reality. For example, right now I'm working on a couple of projects. So there are certain kind of gamification into P2E games. So where player want to feel like you want to feel everything, the ambience of the game and whatever kind of things. So you can create your own avatar and you can feel through that virtual reality. It's not like that like you are actually there, but your virtual avatar is there and you are feeling and sensing everything. There are a lot of technical enhancement there. Like as you mentioned, I always wish I could send smell over WhatsApp. These things are technology is changing day by day. So there are what called digital smells. That also a lot of like
Yeah,
companies
what
are
I heard
working about
from
that.
you for the first time, yes, I thought that's just my fancy imagination, but
No,
you're
no,
telling
no.
me that's really happening, maybe.
Exactly. In Malaysia, there are
Interesting.
like certain kind of research is going on. So like people who cannot smell due to some medical reasons. So there is a things they like change the sensors of the brain so that you feel like smell. Actually, when you smell,
Hmm.
there are certain kind of combination, chemical combination. You can say certain like brain neurons will impact so that you feel that smell. So what they are doing,
Wow.
they are providing that digital like sensation to the people or like nose or their like body parts so that they can feel that smell. So those kind of
Hmm.
research is already going on. And in Malaysia, there are a lot of research is there. Even they have few test cases also on real time people who cannot feel it due to medical reasons. So that kind of things are possible in coming future. And like right now, it's not available our like nearby in India or we can say anywhere. But I am sure that after a certain time of period, maybe few years, you can see it and you can observe it. And regarding
Wow.
metaverse also like gamification, you have seen like movie Avatar. You have seen that movie, the very famous movie Avatar. You are like
Yeah.
that was a kind of example you can feel. People can feel that they can create their own avatar in any kind of game and you can play. I have like worked on healthcare metaverse. I have worked on education-based metaverse project. So let me relate with the healthcare metaverse. So what happened? There are few patients they want to feel that kind of surgery, for example, what is happening inside the cancer surgery or any kind of like COVID treatment. So they do
Hmm.
that kind of brain surgery or that kind of environment they virtually they have created. You can observe that through certain kind of
Yeah.
like glasses are there. So these kind of technical enhancement is there with the help of virtual reality. So like for
So
example,
this is kind
yeah,
of different than a nice school teacher available for villages. This is even a doctor can actually operate on a patient. That's where
yes,
we are
yes.
headed.
Yeah, like in a
Okay.
Bangalore, like in Bangalore, one hospital is there, very famous hospital. I cannot name here. They are my client. They are working on cancer treatment using metaverse. So their
Hmm.
entire therapy they are showing
Interesting.
to their like patient using metaverse. And like school example also in Pune, there's a company I cannot name that also. That company is also my client. So they are working on a metaverse kind of project where the content is delivered by the teachers over the metaverse. For example, there are a
Oh.
lot of government schools. So there you are like people cannot go, teachers cannot go. So they are creating their avatars and they're delivering lectures there over the web application that is using metaverse. So that kind of stuff is already going on. There's a kind of R&D.
Hmm.
Technology is announcing day by day, and a lot of things has been changed. So after a few years, you can say everybody will be using the metaverse. Like right now, we're using internet for every single aspects. So that we can
That's
say.
good to hear. Kamlesh, what's your talk or your say on this?
Kamlesh, actually, you are not audible. Your mic is mute.
Okay, now I
Hmm.
think whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you are
So
audible
what I
now.
Yeah.
was saying, like whether someone can smell the flowers or whatever not, but I think I see the metaverse value beyond the use cases, like suppose education, for example, what Garima is saying in the healthcare space, in manufacturing, even like now opening a physical store of my brand, maybe someone can store their brand in a metaverse environment because anyway you are now buying uh, your your brand from the some kind of retail, some kind of online store. So you can create some kind of a brand store in some kind of metaverse environment, like suppose Disneyland, Sandbox.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Even you can buy, like there are a lot of platform where you can buy houses and any kind of
correct,
ornament, like
correct,
over the web space, that is virtual reality space. You can
correct.
own it.
So yeah, so like HSBC, like Nike and other kind of brand now having their own on the presence in the metaverse kind of thing. And even like in
Oh,
India, there are couple of customer doing, even one of my customer has implemented the metaverse in kind of financial services. So you just experience or make a payment on a kind of metaverse environment for buying any kind of brand.
interesting.
As Kamlesh just now mentioned, that use cases are pretty very much it would be not exaggerating if we can relate our metaverse with the thing lucid dreams, where you can go and dream and you can actually do anything in your dreams, and if you that happens, that thing there, it will happen exactly in physical world. So similarly in
Hmm.
metaverse, if we are able to develop that kind of algorithm and we do some things in metaverse, suppose exploding an atomic bomb, and we can see what is happening actually there, then we are able
Oh,
to see that particularly in a real life, that what is exactly happened there. The same thing will
interesting.
happen in our real world if something is happening similar in metaverse, if we are somehow able to have develop that algorithm.
Hmm.
So the use case is quite
Sujata,
big.
your
And
take.
also, as Garima ma'am mentioned, that smell case, actually scientists have already developed the taste bud, where you can actually taste anything using that electrode and putting some electronic signals in your mouth.
Wow.
So that would
Okay.
be
So I'll
possible.
surely
Yeah.
would like to have those. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sujata, your
actually.
take on this? Yeah, Kamlesh, you're done, or you want to say something?
Yeah, actually, I have done it. Maybe I can add some more lines about like there is a metaverse standards forum created by more than 600 plus companies to create some kind of
Mhm.
interoperability still in the metaverse space. So because the companies see the more kind of exposure in the coming future, and that's why Accenture started their own metaverse practice, like a blockchain practice.
Ah, right. Sujata, you want to go next?
Yeah, so basically my supervisor, my guide who was supervising me through my doctorate, she has done her doctorate studying virtual reality. So she is an expert on virtual reality. And the takeaway that I have from Metaverse is that the one thing that Metaverse is up to is not just virtual reality or augmented reality. It is up to decentralization. That is the point.
Hmm.
So it is decentralizing a lot of information sources that we have and a lot of people who are using it. If you see exactly why we are looking at metaverse, it is because you want to use facilities and access facilities that are not really available to you. They're available somewhere else. So you're networking with them, you're catching hold of those facilities and putting them onto a common platform. So in many cases, you can see metaverse and Web3 being spoken about in the same breath, So metaverse, as far as I can see, is that the development is happening. Well, I would another and someone I think you only mentioned this, Atul, about how India is being at the forefront of the blockchain technology effort. The reason behind it is very clear. When the first two metaverse and Web3 are quite integratedly being considered as the next iteration of the internet
Hmm.
phenomena. Okay, so when the first two iterations of the internet phenomena happened, India was not that much high up on the development aspect of things. We were still body shopping and doing things like that. We were support system. Whereas now India is leading the techno brains as such. And I would beg to disagree with you, Atul, on women being here recently. Many of the Maharathis I knew from the mainframe times were women. So I know quite a
Hmm.
lot of women who have been in this industry for over 25
Okay.
years. So we
Oh,
were always there. But it is now that we are so empowered. I'm not talking about women, I'm talking about the Indian ecosystem. And where
yeah.
we will play a role in the Web3 and in the metaverse system is that both of these have got decentralized abilities to develop the software. So you will hold the IP to whatever you have developed. So when you
Hmm.
integrate, your IP will not go to your Microsoft or to your IBM, it will go to you.
That's
That
great.
is
That's
the,
the
that is
that's
the
the most
aspect on
powerful.
Web3 and metaverse that people are working. That is the most important part of it. So if I log on or I integrate into a metaverse system, I integrate as myself. I do not have
Oh,
to integrate as part of any company.
That's a different perspective you are throwing me. I was not aware of this.
That is why we are talking about metaverse and NFTs in the same breath.
Correct.
The
Interesting.
metaverse as well as Web3, if you go in and check, it has got these abilities. So decentralization and the what you call disintermediate. Why do you wanted me to speak about it with respect to finance? Why is finance being so critical to blockchains or to this entire wave of blockchain culture? It is because the first application of blockchain was financial.
Financial.
Blockchain was created for finance. That others decided to adopt it is a different matter. And blockchain is not a panacea for all ills. It cannot save a dying man. It is meant for a
Absolutely.
certain type of ecosystem wherein a lot of players have to integrate and work together. That's the first thing. You need a lot of players. Why are
True.
most of the blockchain, very sorry to say this, why are most of the blockchain development still in the proof of concept stage? I know of many of my colleagues and many of the people I've worked with and spoken to, they're doing blockchains in the banks since the last 5 years at least. None of them have succeeded because interoperability is still not executed. Unless you have all your stakeholders on a common platform, blockchain
100%.
or metaverse, neither or Web3, none of them can achieve their full potential. So full potential is still a dream. It's a long way away, but will it happen? It will 100% happen. It will
That's a
100%
good
happen.
reality check. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the
Absolutely.
sheer benefits that it is going to offer you. Where are you going to go next stage after this? So the next level of development that you have, like if you look at, I would look at metaverse as a baby application of the Web3 wave, generic Web3 wave. If you look at it, metaverse is a baby application. For giving you a small example, yesterday there was a village that was inaugurated as a solar village. And there we had our
Yes.
prime minister saying,
Yeah.
now not only will you generate electricity, you can also sell the excess electricity. So how are you going to be able to do that? I mean, you are not going to integrate under, there is probably going to be a platform or probably going to be an identifier given to each one of them from where they can directly sell their electricity. We don't know how it's going to pan out, but I would suggest they do something like that because blockchains are a reality. They're available to you. Each person can be given their own wallet and they can debit and credit their solar points onto it, like you are doing your cryptos. So
Right.
that's
And there
my
is no
perspective on it.
As-
Sorry?
I have a
interest.
question.
Very interesting. Yeah. So these are
That's
totally
that's how
different
I would
perspectives.
I have a question
that's
for
how I
both of
would
them.
look at it. I mean, that's a classical
Yeah.
application there. Yeah.
Yes,
So
you
the
want to
first,
ask? Let me
yeah,
go
yes.
through Shilpa madam first,
Okay,
and then you
okay,
can
okay.
ask.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Shilpa, please go ahead.
Sure, sure. Shreyans, I will be quick so that you can ask your question.
Sure. No
Okay.
worries, no worries.
I when I read this question, like I always wished I could send mail over WhatsApp. Is this metaverse? It really triggered one of the memory that I had. I live in Washington DC, so in January, February over here is terribly cold, and of course, even though I have jasmine flower in my garden, it doesn't bloom in that season. But every January, February, I smell that. I smell it because of the memory, because I always grew up in those months, February, March, in India with that smell. And
Oh,
so, what is smell? It's a memory. It's a signal, right? So
It's a chemical
that can
reaction, right?
happen with metaverse. I think some of these things, some of these experiences, for somebody like me who really misses India terribly for some of these reasons, these could actually be real applications to give you that experience that you have been missing. um,
mhm.
one of my other thought about metaverse is that we usually whenever we have free time, we try to go to the museums here in DC, and we have some really nice free museums operated by Smithsonian. And one of the best paintings that I have seen in one of these museums is called as the Voyage of Life. And this painting is a series of paintings. It's four paintings, and it shows the journey of a person from being a baby to being the old man, all stages of life. And anytime I go to that museum, I always wish I had more time. And I never, at some point, my feet kind of give up. But I wish some of that experience of being able to stand there and being able to immerse myself in that picture, that will be something that will be a very good application for metaverse. Yes, there will be hundreds of other applications, as all the other panelists said, and there are different aspects to metaverse. One of the thought is regulation, right? Even if you create an entire economy in metaverse, you need the regulation so that it can apply the same things in the physical universe that we live in. So if you end up earning a lot of digital currency, you should be able to bring it back to the physical universe. And so some of that regulation needs to catch up if we want metaverse to become a reality. We are
Absolutely.
very fortunate today. Just one last point. We are very fortunate today that one of the book on metaverse as a subject was released, and I'm actually sending the link here in the chat.
Great.
The name of the book is called as Virtual Society, the Metaverse and the New Frontiers of Human Experience. It's written by somebody who actually develops a metaverse for living. So, so it's at this point, the metaverse is not something that's a thought. It's happening. It's really happening. I will conclude that.
Interesting. So, and in that museum, if you, instead of having a dumb view on the YouTube or something, if you feel like there are other people around you and you are actually physically in that museum, that will be even, and you might even get some smells or also somebody
Yeah.
else's scent of perfume. That would be like actually visiting the, instead of looking at the YouTube video. Great. That's a good perspective too. So Shreyans, you want to ask something? Go ahead.
Yeah, as Sujata ma'am just mentioned about the selling of electricity from a village to another village. So I was just curious about this thing only. If a blockchain is somehow implemented, so the first thing that comes under radar is cloud. Why would we need cloud? We can have our own system and we can trade with our own people. And similarly with banking system, why do we need bank and they are charging for us to keep our money? We can just use blockchain to keep our money secure and each with each other. And similarly, other centralized system will come in fire. So how are we actually planning to how the government will react to it, that they don't want this thing to happen, because if decentralization comes, they'll be the first one to be under fire. So what do you think, how they will react to it? Would it take a lot more time to convert this thing?
No, we are very mistaken there. See, I mean, I know about how government, at least I know about how government of India is proceeding. See, what the most of the governments world over, they were grappling to distinguish the crypto wave or the crypto phenomena from the blockchain technology. They've not been very good at doing that. Government of India was very smart in that. That they were very technologically sharp in managing to distinguish the two technologies. So they are disintermediation. What are the banks doing? Why do we need cloud? First of all, where are you going to store your blockchain? Where is the blockchain itself going to be stored? You need
The
somewhere to
person,
store it, right?
all the
You
people
need
in the
some memory
blockchain
or
can have
some space where it can exist, right? It
the
can't exist on your
people.
mobile. It's massive.
Hmm.
It is decentralized. See the
Yeah.
belongs to will be saved on all your systems, whichever system is identified. It will work like that. Like you don't know from where I'm on a net meeting now. I don't know which server this meeting is running on. So you will not
Correct.
know. You will not know, but you need a base, and that base cannot be your mobile or your Android. And
Yeah,
that
true.
base, the cloud technology is the best base for it. It offers the best kind of platform from where a blockchain can function. And as far as the technology itself is concerned, I can talk about the technology. I can't talk about the political aspects of it that I don't know. But I have written quite a few newspaper articles and given some interviews on this also. The way the government of India efforts are proceeding, they are very smart. They have managed to distinguish the technology from the crypto. They have not allowed crypto or crypto assets precisely with this end.
Hmm.
It's not a backward view. It is actually a very forward view, because unless you don't keep that out, you're never going to be able to use the positive aspects of the technology. You know, so the minute, and I am see the way, if I were to tell you the truth, Shreyans, right, ask this question. If I were to tell you the truth, if we are ready to let our villagers trade in blockchain, I'm sorry, in bitcoins, how much time I have I know how to use Bitcoins. I mean, I'm not a crypto person. I will never advise crypto. I'm a huge investor. But if I were to be able to
Actually, we
give them,
lost you in past few lines.
sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
you
we
are a
lost you in
huge
past few lines.
investor in something. That
Yeah,
part.
Yeah,
you
so I
invested
said
in something.
I manage a lot of portfolios, but I don't go into cryptocurrencies. However, I know how to trade on it. Okay. So if I were to give this and the ability to trade on a crypto to a villager in India, how long do you think that person is going to take to trade in it? If I'm going to tell him, do this, do this, do this, you can make so much money, he is going to do it in exactly less than 2-3 hours. And I'm
True.
not joking. We
Agreeable.
have got these systems. We have got a classical example again in this case is this place called Bhuj. I don't know whether you all have heard of Bhuj. Bhuj was flattened in the beginning of the century. And today, Bhuj is the place with the highest per capita income in India. I don't think most people are aware of this. What do? They sell milk. I'm not kidding. They sell milk. That's what they do. One of their major economy empowerment of villagers is where the milk network has been set up so smartly that they all of them stand to benefit from it. So that kind of, if you're asking me how fast it can be integrated, we have the ecosystem in place. That much the interoperability is what is stopping it, and the availability of a valid crypto is what is stopping it, if you ask me. A legal tender cryptocurrency, the minute it happens, I'm sure a lot of your metaverse, a lot of your Web3. See, metaverse, where are we taking the world? Why are we taking the world to metaverse? As I said, decentralization. Why should I go to a bank? The bank is not lending me the money. Some lender is lending me, right?
Yeah.
So let me speak directly to the lender.
That's
Why
what
should I go to
Shreyas is
bank?
asking. Why do I need
Yeah,
bank?
That's what I'm asking. Why do I
yeah.
need
No,
government for
the
it?
classical cases of blockchain technology application, even if you look at the one from the International Monetary Funds or from the directives that are issued by the Big Four of audit, you can see that they're all centered around displacement of trust, or rather trustless or trust machine, however you may call it.
Right.
So I trust a doctor, whether see the doctor in reality or I see a virtual version of the doctor. I mean, we are all doing virtual consulting in so many areas now. So
Yes.
why not metaverse? I mean, I can see a meta version of the doctor and still trust the doctor. I don't need to go to a hospital. I can directly connect with the doctor over the meta.
Absolutely. But having said that, there will be some infrastructure required. It's not just your mobiles
Yes,
which can
yes,
open.
yes, yes,
Definitely,
yes, yes.
definitely.
Government regulations 100% are required. 100% because it's a paradigm shift.
Correct.
Simply because it's a paradigm shift, you're replacing someone. So you need new rules. Rules need to be reframed, which is why I'm very happy that the crypto and the crypto assets and the cryptocurrency was not allowed into India, because that will again confuse the rule framework.
So,
Once you
I
have the
disagree little bit
framework,
here. I'm disagree little bit here. Like cryptocurrency is a part of the blockchain technology. If we talk about financial aspects, so we can regulate the crypto also based on certain parameters, as most of the
Actually,
government is
crypto
trying
couldn't
to.
be
yeah, that's what
banned
I'm
in.
saying. That's what I'm saying, that they will be regulated. So the
Correct.
regulations are being made as of now.
Yes.
As
Yeah.
of
Sujata
now,
ma'am,
the
correct me
regulations
if
are being
uh,
created and we'll come up with it. Yeah.
correct me
Yeah,
if
like
I'm wrong. Actually,
regulations
crypto
we must
isn't
have
banned
for
in India.
cryptocurrency also. But if you talk about
Uh,
any use case in the financial market, then certainly you need a current cryptocurrency to implement that. If we talk about to have that kind of currency like Bitcoin, that was a currency that has like changed everything. It's not about trading purpose only. Every coin can has different purpose. We can use for different purposes, but every country government want to channelize it through their own rules and regulation. So that is the hurdle. Even few countries in west, they have accepted the crypto as a payment. So it's not like that is every aspect of the cryptocurrency is bad. There are few good aspects also about the cryptocurrency, like easy forex transactions, but those
Right.
should be governed by some bodies. My point is that
Yeah.
those
So
should be
that
like
will
governed
evolve.
by some
Yeah.
bodies. That
Correct.
is okay.
So that cryptocurrency cannot be the cryptocurrency that we are seeing in the current form. That has
Yeah.
to be a
So anyway,
regulated
Just sorry to cut you, but we are not, our discussion topic is not crypto. So let's stay
I
away from
agree.
it.
I agree. Yeah.
So let's go to the next question.
Cryptos are a whole
Yes,
different
yes, we
ballgame.
have a separate time for questions. So let's go through our initial questions quickly. I am not sure at this point whether we will be able to do a demonstration, but that's okay. So the second one I was posing, again, take it as a scenario. I remember this movie where I'm just going to take quickly summarize it, that this guy goes to the Mars and he demonstrated that to a public, and then public says, "Where? When did you go to Mars?" He said, "Oh, that's like I travel faster than speed of light. I go and come back. So you won't even realize that I was gone or something. Your blink of an eye also cannot recognize me not being there for that much time or whatever." So maybe such scenarios were there even in Mahabharata. But I was thinking, so if at all this metaverse comes in, I mean, there will be a difficulty proving something happened or something really took place. So will NFT and some kind of a blockchain be able to really prove that yes, this happened in metaverse or some virtual universe, but it happened? So will I be able to prove that using that technology which will evolve as metaverse goes ahead? Otherwise, I can fake anything. Yes, I got educated in University of California. Here is the degree, and some degree I will produce. So how do I prove that if I did that in metaverse? So we'll go in the reverse order just to give enough time justice. So Shilpa, you can start with this.
In order to prove anything, you need to have two things. One is the body which provides that proof, and then the one who is receiving the proof. So as long as the digital identity problem gets solved, and I'm not saying that it's solved, it is something that people are working on, then it would be possible to do it with blockchain. As of now, you can create an NFT. You can create, so for example, ERC 721 standard allows you to create an NFT that is one of its kind, and it just currently is used mostly for the trading digital art or whatever, but it could be used to actually provide the proof, provide the certificate. If there some of those need to be created on the mass basis, so 1155 standard could be used. But yes, I do think that it will happen. The digital identity problem needs to get solved first, though.
Yeah. So you believe these standards will also evolve and they will cater to the need of
Yes.
proving. Okay,
Yes.
thanks. That's nice. Sujata, you're next.
What sets metaverse apart from just ordinary or plain virtual reality or augmented reality? It is this provenance. Augmented reality and virtual reality are not new. They've been around for 20 years. As I said, my professor did her thesis on this about 12 years back. So it is not new. It has been around for a long time. Then why are we talking about metaverse now with so much of excitement? Because metaverse has gone on to blockchains. Why blockchains? Because blockchains has this provenance in it. Ownership, I don't have to tell you how in the world of your Ethereum or in the world of your Ether or in the world of, now you have at least about 20, 30 cryptos. So how are we tracing ownership there? How are we proving who owns what there? That is a part of the blockchain. That is a part of the technology, and that is how the technology works. The ability to prove the ownership as well as the main thing, the audit trail. It not only keeps a track of ownership, it also keeps track of who did what where. And that is, these two are, they are non-negotiable. They cannot be edited. So
And then
you
I
have
think your
this.
kind of interoperability also becomes very relevant because
See, interoperability is inevitable. Blockchain is not a standalone system. There is no use. No, if I say I developed a blockchain for my school, what are you doing on your blockchain sitting in a school? I don't understand. Unless and until you're telling me that you created a blockchain for your university, where a lot more people are there, a lot more departments are there which interact. You have your finance departments, your many departments are there. You have universities connecting with each other on a common chain or a platform. There again, you will have all your IP issues solved, your intellectual property issues. They're all resolved because ownership is undisputed in blockchains. And it is It's immutable. You can't change it. That is the point. Changing in a blockchain is not allowed at all. You cannot do it at all. You may say that, I was lecturing people on blockchain and security. And they started with saying how a particular chain network had been hacked. It was a part of a hackathon. So the point is that network, when data transfer is happening, can be hacked. The blockchain itself cannot be hacked. So far, it has never happened. You cannot hack a blockchain. When we were training, we were trying to do it, and you could actually see how the chain breaks.
Right.
You have these small demo chains.
It was the off-chain data that was hacked, and people thought it is a block.
Yeah. It was on the transfer stage, data transfer stage, that it was hacked. So right. you are having this provenance as a part of that ecosystem, is a part of the chain-based ecosystem, which is why it is not augmented reality or virtual reality you're talking about. You're talking about metaverse, which is going to integrate it on a platform, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's an interesting view, right? Kamlesh, you want to comment on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like what Sujata mentioned, like augmented reality, virtual reality is not the new thing, right? And how the blockchain could add transparency in the traceability and provenance of the transaction and the identity. So I believe blockchain could play two important roles in terms of giving the identity of the avatars in a metaverse environment. And another aspect of like traceability and provenance of the transaction, like or owning some asset on some kind of metaverse, like NFTs, for example.
Yeah.
So I think that's why blockchain is a need for in the metaverse, because AR and VR is a not new thing. That was already exist from last 1 or 2 decades. It was there, but metaverse is a kind of new thing, like adding the identity, digital identity, identifying the users or avatars in the metaverse. Another is the transaction happening on a metaverse, or asset identification as the NFTs is a critical point of implementation.
Yes, absolutely. Garima, you want to finish? Garima?
Yeah, Tulji. So what I feel like metaverse and blockchain both are interrelated in some aspects. What I feel, if you want to implement metaverse also, then we can create certain use cases with the help of blockchain here.
So pertaining to proving something, blockchain will be definitely useful.
Yes, NFT will be there, the contract will be there too. So a lot of things are involved in the blockchain aspects. So both things are interrelated, but how we can correlate to make that a fruitful thing, that we have to see. Because a lot of use cases are there in front of me right now, also in terms of medical industry, then in terms of education industry. But if we talk about real time, which are like already existing and like working, those are in very less number. That on that one I agree. There are few which are under like beta version,
Right.
but not fully ready. So those things we have to wait for a long time.
Interestingly, Kamlesh was mentioning me about the corporate part of this world versus the public part of this blockchain world. So there is definitely something that needs to happen on the corporate level instead of just the public level.
Yeah, actually, public blockchains, like if you talk about enterprise version of any blockchain, in that case, hybrid one is the best one, and private, for that network Kamlesh is working, that is a private blockchain using Hyperledger Fabric and other kind of things. There are hybrid and consortium, two kind of blockchain. We can get a lot of use cases for the enterprise version. But if we talk about like public blockchain, there are less number of use cases that we can create for that enterprise perspectives. But for real-time use cases on different scenarios, we can have public blockchains also involved. So I have experience with public and private both kind of blockchain scenarios.
Yeah, so I think that hybrid approach may evolve as we go ahead.
Hybrid, like in terms of enterprise edition about the banking scenario or any big enterprise like supply chain, in that use case, hybrid and consortium both are good. Like for banking, consortium was good, and like for hybrid is for supply chain and other aspect.
Interesting. Shall we move on to the third?
Yeah, please.
Absolutely. So I think we can skip this one. Let's go to the fourth one because we are kind of running short of time. So I think the fourth one is more interesting. So quality testing in manufacturing will not be statistical, which is a big impact. Today we study a lot of statistics and say 30% or 99.9 versus, or we do these graphs and sigma 2, sigma 3, all that probably is going to go away, because what I'm hearing is there will be 100% quality check. All the components that are going into an assembly, they will be quality checked for 100%. So there is no faulty product, or and even we are moving to industry 5.0, where customer orders the product and that is built per order instead of mass production, which also may go away. So if we see that kind of fantastic universe, do you think that is a science fiction, or that is likely to happen? Your opinion in quick, maybe half a minute, max 1 minute. So now we will go start with middle, maybe start with Kamlesh. Yeah, now you're on mute, or you're mute again. Kamlesh, you're on mute.
Yeah,
Now
I
you're
unmuted. Yeah. So I think here I think we're talking about like metaverse in some kind of manufacturing space, right? Or some kind of like 3D printing, or I think industry
yes.
5.0 also. So I think in the manufacturing space, like for example, in any manufacturing house, someone can go and visit the factory. That could be the metaverse kind of use case. And another is kind of training the particular machines, testing, or maybe bug fixing, or maybe repairing. Quality testing also could be the kind of maybe metaverse training could be provided. I think this kind of use cases, I believe, the manufacturing space will be realistic in the metaverse in the future.
Interesting. Next, I think we can go with Sujata, madam.
If you ask me my opinion on this, I would think that this is how it has been happening in the real world. At least this is how they propose to have it happening on the real world. If you see the lean manufacturing techniques that came in from Japan, and they were tried and tested, and there was a lot of reason why people go for lean. In fact, for startup, when I teach startup innovation and startup ecosystem, I talk a lot about how lean systems help startups. So what are these lean systems? What are the agile systems? Or what is your Scrum or Agile itself? Agile itself is where we develop
Yes.
smaller units and each unit is individually tested, right? And then we
Correct.
go integrate, we keep exposing to the customer at every stage instead of going at the last minute to the customer. So this is the next logical stage where you will obviously be using, I mean, if there is a facility like Metaverse available for me to test, why will I not use it? I mean, it's logical, right? I already have agile. I already am developing in bits and pieces, whether you talk about software or whether you talk about lean in the manufacturing sector, where you have smaller pieces of, we have so many of these integrated smaller units who are actually giving out their products to the larger manufacturers to integrate. So if it is possible for the larger manufacturer to go on a metaverse system to check each of these individual aspects, their quality, their stage of development, etc., it would definitely be taken up. It will be taken up big time. In fact, that is actually a very interesting application of metaverse that I don't know who came up with this. I mean, they are really smart. That is one classical and it's a great application for the metaverse. I will remember this for a long time, Atul. This one I'm not going to forget.
Yeah.
This will be
Yeah. Okay, so who wants to go next? Shilpa?
My personally, one of the reasons that I became engineer is because I saw my dad working as a metallurgical engineer, and I saw him working, manufacturing the parts of the gear and the clutches that go in the car or rickshaws. And so for me, to see this kind of thing happening is just really amazing, because for him, I have always heard him talk about quality control and QC checks and all different types of in standardization and the tests that they went through. I think one of the use case for the blockchain is that having all of those records publicly available, so that if and nothing really gets created from one part, multiple things, composability does take place even in manufacturing. So having those records easily accessible to be able to say if something went wrong, where exactly it went wrong, that that tracing process will become easier with blockchain. That's what I think.
Very interesting. Now you remind me of the Merkle tree. Actually, the
Yeah.
actual final assembly of or any product QA could be a Merkle tree root, and all these components that go into that testing could be different nodes at different points. That's very interesting. Yeah, Garima madam, you want to go next?
I can say that is the greatest example of the using a metaverse technology to empower the manufacturing units. Even the manufacturer, I can consider production units as well for like food and grocery. One product I have developed like 1 year back that was using that kind of scenarios like people are taking like food from the farms and how they, like they manage supply chain throughout the process when it is going to end customers. But that time metaverse was not in the picture, so it was just like a supply chain of the entire food chain. So that I've
Yeah.
seen. But if it metaverse is also included in the manufacturing and supply chain, then it's a great example of technology how we can empower. So that's
Yeah,
what I
food is very important because food is so sensitive to humans. Yes, 100%. Yeah, Kamlesh, you are trying to say something?
No.
Okay, so I think considering the time, we probably have to stop here. I know everybody is too busy and in some deadlines or timelines, but I'll skip the demo part. But you will receive an email where you will get a link, which is kind of pretty much self-explanatory. You can just click that link and claim your free NFT. That's all we can offer right now. But yeah, pretty soon maybe that NFT will be valued maybe $100,000 or whatever. I don't know. But we'll wait for Metaverse to evolve. But accept that as a small gift on behalf of Hexaview to begin with. That's all. So
That's my
any
first.
closing?
That's my first NFT, and I'm very happy to receive it.
Yeah. So any closing comments anybody wants to share? Otherwise, these are Hexaview locations versus. Okay. So
no,
with that,
no, not at the
yeah.
moment because it was a great session. Every each individual has contributed a lot in the session, and we have